All right, breaking news. Juwan Howard's going to miss the remainder of the regular season, suspended for his role in the postgame fracas after Sunday's Michigan-Wisconsin game. Juwan Howard and Badgers coach Greg Gard had a heated moment in the handshake line, and when that boiled over, Howard ended up taking a swipe or a swing at a Badgers assistant coach. And you see, as a result, he will miss the remainder of the regular season. Juwan Howard, not ideal. Let's bring in CBS Sports senior college basketball writer Matt Norlander. All right, Matt, when you look here, he is suspended. Can you explain, is this suspended by the team? Is this the league? Is this the NCAA? Could he face more discipline by one of these other folks if it's just the team? Like, how did this come down?
Well, the Big Ten and the University of Michigan work together, as normally happens in these instances where you're dealing with suspensions for coaches whenever those situations might apply, regardless of the sport. And ultimately, Michigan holds the authority to suspend Juwan Howard for a longer period of time than the Big Ten. It had been reported that actually the conference itself could only suspend Howard for any kind of incidents for as many as 2 games. The rest of this is Ward Manuel, the athletic director, and anyone at Michigan in a position of authority to have an input on this. So this is a 5-game suspension, as has been reported, which feels about appropriate overall. It's what I wrote on CBSSports.com earlier on Monday. My assessment was that a suspension for the rest of the regular season would probably be the most appropriate action toward Juwan Howard specifically, which means he is, as of right now, expected to return once Michigan participates in the Big Ten tournament.
All right, is this the last of it? I mean, do we expect any players, anybody on Wisconsin, anybody else? Is this the first wave, or is this the conclusion of this incident in terms of suspensions?
This is the first wave. These are reports. We don't have an announcement from the league yet on this. Players, I was told by multiple sources early on Monday, the expectation is that players on both sides will face disciplinary action. And I interpret disciplinary action as that the 3 players, 2 from Michigan, 1 from Wisconsin, at least, that were caught on camera with balled fist and throwing would sit for at least a game. So we await that word specifically. And then in terms of Wisconsin, we wait to see if Wisconsin will have any sort of action against Greg Gard or any of its assistants, or if the Big Ten will be the one that steps Wisconsin if it opts not to do that. Wisconsin's AD was, pretty passionate in the immediacy of all of this on Sunday when he spoke at the post-game presser, saying, this is obviously unacceptable. I've already put in a call to Commissioner Kevin Warren, on and on. He didn't sound like a man in that moment that was all too open to having any sort of sanctions on any of his own coaches there. But we'll wait and see on that. Though Juwan Howard wants the biggest piece, I can say confidently no one will face a longer suspension than Juwan Howard, who is sitting for 5.
All right, so the Big Ten and the school did this together. This is the first of what we expect will be more discipline for players or potentially other coaches. What has been the reaction around college basketball with you and your sources as to what happened? Is it, hey, I felt like doing that and they sort of get it? Is it, I can't believe what I saw? What are most people saying to you kind of off the record when you're talking to them about what they witnessed on Sunday?
A lot of I can't believe what I saw, plenty of blame at Juwan Howard, and to be honest, there was plenty of feedback I heard from head coaches inside and outside of the Big Ten that said Greg Gard didn't do what he should have done to de-escalate the situation as well. And I had one Big Ten source tell me that if we got out of this and Juwan Howard was the only one who was facing a suspension, there would be a big problem. Again, I don't expect that to be the case, but we'll wait and see. We have to see what the Big Ten as a conference announces, which will be coming later on Monday. But there's been plenty of attention paid to this, behind the scenes, if you will, by coaches and assistants across the conference, across the sport there, because I mean, this has been the biggest story coming out of All-Star Weekend for the NBA. I mean, it's Juwan Howard, who Fab Five, alum of Michigan, spent, over 15 years playing in the NBA and then was a coach in the NBA for a number of years before returning home. And so, yeah, this is obviously a significant stain on his reputation on that university's, and you never want to see anything like this. This is the image here that sticks to Juwan Howard's coaching career. for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, he got
That's just the
physical.
reality.
Look, it's one thing when people are sort of, jawing and that stuff. Once you go overhand right, even though it's open hand, you have gone to another level that otherwise had not been there. I mean, look, I went to the University of Michigan Law School. I love Juwan Howard. I was there when he was there playing. I loved what he did last year. He embarrassed the university, and he went to a place that you cannot go if you are going to be the adult in the room and representing that fine school. That's just kind of the way it goes there.
I do. By the way, I do
please.
have one more. Literally getting a text from a source here that tells me that whenever the punishments come for Wisconsin, I'm getting something right now that says Wisconsin will align with the Big Ten's ruling. So whatever the Big Ten decides for punishments for any of the coaches or players with Wisconsin is not going to add any additional punishment on top of that. So when we learn what exactly that entails from the Wisconsin end of it, it will be entirely whatever the Big Ten opts to do there on that side of it.
All right, so they're not going to appeal. They're going to say, hey, whatever you want to do, you want to do. Again,
Yeah.
There's one, look, we've all been athletic. We've all been in heated art, whether it's on the playground with your brother in organized sports. One thing, John, back and forth, once you start going after people and hitting them in the head, that's just a different level. And, he's now going to be done for the rest of the year. Excellent job by Matt Norlander getting us information literally as he's with us and continuing to break and bring the story to us right now. Okay, so Matt Norlander doing a great job. You want more Matt Norlander? You can do that. You can get him on the podcast. But first, right now, Michigan. This was a team last year that had that magical regular season and then a pretty good run into the tournament, to the Sweet 16 there, and then all the way, didn't quite make the Final Four, but was right there on the cusp. This year, it has not been good. They may be first four out, and I wonder if this is going to affect them in terms of what they're going to do, and if the committee's going to look and go, you really want to award? And again, I'm a go blue guy, and I can't argue if you're going to put them on the outside looking in.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.